What's going on, everybody? What is going on? I know some people probably still watching the latest coverage on what happened with the Chauvin sentencing. I just heard about what he's going to be sentenced. I just wanted to wait until I heard the sentencing before I press this live button. But I'm gonna wait for some people to get in here and we will go from there. I'm gonna go ahead and share this on my page on my social media platforms, and we are going to get it in. And how ironically, today is Freestyle Friday, so I will be dropping the link in the chat if people would like to come up and say their piece. I know a lot of people gonna have a lot to say as it pertains to what just happened, and that's okay, because if that's one of the major topics we got to talk about today, then so be it. But when y'all come in, make sure y'all hit that like button, share. What's going on, DSA1 and Darlene? How are you doing? I'm doing great today. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing the same. What's going on, Joseph Washington? Let's see, who else do we have in here? Everyday Peoples, Marie Williams, the Black Nail Artist, Darren, Versatile Legacy. What's going on? I'm gonna give some more people more time to get into the chat, and we will go ahead and get started. Yes, I know he got 22 and a half years. We're gonna talk about that. Everybody's timing was timing. Everybody's years were off, because I had posted up on Twitter, how much time do people think he's going to get. A lot of people say they feel he's going to walk. Some people say he's going to get 10 years. Some say he's going to get 8. Some said probation. Nobody was in the range of what he actually got. He actually got more time than many people thought he actually would, considering what they did with Amber Geiger. And let's see, that's 22 and a half years. He's what, 45 now? So that means he can get out when he's 67. Hopefully, those are the longest 22 and a half years of his life. What's going on, Letitia? I'm probably get started around 4:10. By that time, it'll be more people in here. What's going on? It's Everyday People's Pinky JYB, Tina, Jamal Bay. What's going on? I don't know if they're gonna be able to appeal. I wouldn't be surprised if they try. I personally think he should have got the whole 30. But see, I knew they were going to include that time served, because he was already locked up. I knew they was going to include that time served, because they said that they was including that 150 months or whatever. So I knew they was going to include that in there somehow, some way. Now I don't know if he's going to be able to appeal or not. Darren Finney said he should have been life. That would have only been he only would have got life if he was convicted on something on the first degree level. But they knew not to try anything on the first degree level. That's the only way he would have got life. So I knew that when the charges that he did get before the trial even began, I already knew he wasn't going to get a life sentence just off of those second degree charges alone. Yeah, I forgot about them tax evasion charges. So yeah, he still got those to deal with. So he's not out the dark yet. This is just this part of it. He still has that tax evasion charges along with his estranged concubine wife. Hey, what's going on, Tawana? 007 Spidey 2. What's going on, Amari said he's not going to do that much time because of all the people defending him and crying he didn't get a fair trial. Stupid fools. Let's see what's up. Gnome King Akira Maximus Royalty Vulcan 2054. What is going on? What's up? What's up? And Keith Ellison lost his damn mind with that statement that he made talking about they don't go too hard on him. Are you crazy? What's going on? Alana Trotman, what's going on? Shout out to the UK. Joy said 22 and a half years is not enough, but something he wasn't too upset. So they may have other tricks up their sleeve. Well, one thing that came out of this that some of you probably did not know is that the judge denied a retrial, a second trial. They tried to get another trial done, I think this morning or something like that, but the judge denied it. So it's pretty much done. So the opportunity for him to even be found not guilty or anything like that again, well, the next time around to negate what happened with this previous one is null and void. So they're stuck with the verdict or the verdicts, I should say, that they have come up with. DSA one, you said I was just on Amazing Lucas live, and I guess 11 plus times, sir. I was actually just watching his live stream as well, right before I started mine up. Well, I'm gonna actually read this article that I just came across to give a little bit of a rundown because it just came out, after the sentencing has been read and everything. Literally came in at 3:58 p.m., so it's about 10 minutes old. It says former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison in the 2020 murder of George Floyd. Prosecutors had asked for a 30-year sentence, and Chauvin's attorney asked for probation and time served. Chauvin was convicted in April of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Technically, Chauvin faced up to 40 years in prison for second-degree murder, up to 25 years for third-degree murder, and up to 10 years for manslaughter. That's why when I do those videos and I tell people you have to pay attention to the wording. Whenever they say up to, that doesn't mean that number is definitive of what they're going to get. So if it says up to 40 years, it does not mean they're going to get 40 years or even close to 40 years. It just means that it's going to be up to 40 years, but nothing beyond that. But some people, like, they don't read that deep into it, but you have to like really pay attention to the wording. Up to and saying what it is two different things. However, Chauvin has no prior criminal record. State guidelines say that for such a person, the presumptive sentence for both second degree and third degree murder is 12 and a half years. The judge was given discretion to hand down a sentence between 10 years and 8 months and 15 years for each. Second degree manslaughter carries a presumptive sentence of 4 years for someone with no record, according to the guidelines. The judge's discretion ranged from 3 years and 5 months to 4 years and 8 months. Exactly, Noam King. Terminology is indeed critical. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just drop the link. If anybody would like to come up, we can go ahead. It is Freestyle Friday, and how ironically it's falling on the same day as this the sentencing has been read. Literally right after it has been read too. It's not like an hour has passed and people are digesting what's going on. Like, people are having to take this all in. I'm glad you said that. Alana made a good point. One thing that differentiates this particular situation versus ones we've seen in the past, besides Derek Chauvin actually getting way more time than we thought he would, is the family did not start on that forgiveness crap. Like, I literally felt like my heart was going to beat out my chest a couple of times when they were speaking, that they were going to slip up and say that I forgive you and all types of stuff, or ask for forgiveness and all of that stuff. None of them said that, and they all ended off saying that they wanted the maximum with him. And the brother said, I wanted maximum with no possibility of parole. Like, he wanted it all. And let's not forget, he still has those tax evasion charges with his wife, with his estranged wife, that he still has to go to court for that. So if he's found guilty of that, that's even more years that he has in jail. It's just going to be on two different things. 20 Autobot Jazz, he got 22 and a half years. Anybody else? Anybody want to come up? I dropped the link. What's going on, brother Mark? Van Hunter, he says, "Have I seen the amazing Lucas going in on?" First off, I will not refer to that man as Officer Tatum because he is no longer a cop. But yes, I have seen him be going in on him, and rightfully so. Everybody should be going in on him. That guy is one of the worst people on the planet. I don't know if he's going in on him now. Probably not now. They got that damn Keith Ellison up there. I don't want to see him. But speaking of Fakem, I know he's probably gonna make some kind of a. He might be streaming right now, probably going off like he did when the verdict got read a couple months ago. But there's the link again if y'all would like to come up and join in on this conversation, because I know y'all have some things to say. Y'all can come on up. Today's the day. Remember, we only do this once a month. And this is the perfect time to really air out your grievances outside of the chat. Jerome, you said, did I hear about the Derek Chauvin's verdict? I think everybody in this chat, in this room, in this chat, and myself included, heard about it. It was kind of difficult not to, unless you shut everything off. Alana said the mother really annoyed me with her favorite son and her family is going through it too. She was being on code. I'm not shocked that she did that or said that. And she said, when she said that her favorite son, so your favorite son is a murderer, is what you're saying. What's going on?
The TR, man.
How you doing?
Pretty good, bro. Out here in this heat, that came up here working on this project, man, trying to revamp from my old house.
Okay,
I seen you
I
was
don't know
going
what
live.
I don't know what your connection is like. It's like you're going in and out.
Uh, Damn, it'll probably suck here, cause it ain't no power or nothing on in the house right now.
Oh, okay, I can hear you a little bit better now.
I can't explain it. But I saw you was getting ready to go live, so I was like, let me hold on for a few minutes before I start pulling these tools out to start working.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you was going in. I was like, I seen the Chauvin trial and a couple other things I seen you was gonna talk about in the title. I said, yeah, I got to catch this one.
Yeah. And it's ironic that like I'm going live right now and they just announced the sentencing like probably less than 10 minutes before I was about to go live. So yeah, it's very interesting, what's going on right now. But he got way more time than most people thought he would. Because like I said,
Definitely.
I had posted it up on Twitter saying how much time do y'all think he's gonna get? Some people were being realistic and saying, probably like 10 years or some change. Some people were trying to be funny and things like that. But nobody guessed what he actually got. Like no one guessed the number that high.
I didn't think he would get, nowhere close to 20. I was one of those people. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I I wasn't expecting 10 years like the Amber Geiger thing. There's just difference in the type of exegesis from the scenarios, because her situation, it wasn't nobody there to record. Nobody
Yeah.
seen or heard anything outside of the neighbors close to Botham John's apartment. But with
Right.
Chauvin, like everybody seen it. The whole world seen it. It wasn't no getting out of this for him.
Exactly. Like you said, the whole world saw it, and it's like no one could really escape seeing that when it first happened. And it's very rare that you see something like that play out in real time. I mean, we see
Yeah.
it all the time, but it's one thing when we see it because it's us, but it's a difference between us and the entire globe watching. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
saw what happened last year, like it was undeniable. Like when people said that they feel like he was going to walk from this, I said, you better hope they don't let him walk from this, because if you thought people was turned up last year, if they let him walk from this, they going to do way worse. So you like
Yep.
really had to like take all of that into consideration. So now, like I was saying, he got the 22 and a half years. They were asking for 30. So they were about, 6.5 years short. And then also some people forgot that he still has those tax evasion charges with along with his wife, that he still has to go to court for that. So, if he gets found guilty of that, that's going to be even more years. I don't know how many years that is as far as a crime goes for tax evasion, but hey, if they can get Lauryn Hill and
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes,
Uh-huh.
then and they didn't kill nobody. They just didn't pay Uncle Sam. Then they can then they can get him on that as well as his estranged wife.
I'm so glad you used those two as examples as well, because when you think about a lot of these artists in the industry, they got a lot to focus on outside of filling their contract obligation to the label. You know what I'm saying? They not always able to fly back home to get to their specific type of bank if they with somebody in particular to get allotments drawn out to make sure, the mortgage is paid, that the taxes are paid, that bill, cooling bill, and everything is maintained with the property. They put people in charge of these things, and so
Mm-hmm.
they pay up a lot of money for the most part. So you would think, I'm paying this person X amount of dollars per month to maintain my properties, and especially taxes. Like property, you can
Mm-hmm.
recover from, home, car, insurance. You can recover from that stuff, but taxes, nah. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then the thing with Sharpen and his wife, that little divorce stunt, that wasn't nothing
Yeah.
but, okay, we separating our financial obligations from this point. And she didn't want the stigma of being with a killer. That's all it was. She
Exactly.
worried
Yeah,
about
she was
her
trying. Yeah,
personal.
she was trying to get out of the way. She was trying to get herself out of the way or remove herself from the situation, and then that came up. I'm like, you can try to separate yourself from the situation all you want, but the fact of the matter is you help contribute to the tax evasion nonetheless, whether Derek Chauvin did what he did that day or not. So
Mhm.
it's like, and the thing is, because now of what
Uh,
he did, his life is now an open book. So now everyone's going to be digging into his past. As a matter of fact,
uh,
him doing that opened his own can of worms. Vampire Hunter Greg, we can hear you.
yeah, what? Your audio good, brother. Come on and chime
Yeah,
in.
we can hear you. But I said his life is an open book now. It's public. It's on public display. So everything that because of what he did, is now opened up Pandora's box. So
Yep.
that's how we found out about the tax evasion. That's how we found out about what he did. Because remember, they also brought up about how a couple years ago he did the same thing to George Floyd to a teenager, and he kneed on his neck longer. Luckily, the teenager lived. So, and also they dug into his past some more, saying about how he and George Floyd used to work at the same bar. So, like
They did.
now,
Like,
so,
I
so
I got a
now,
check.
so go ahead.
My bad. I ain't mean to cut you, but like, I heard about that before some of those things came out about him. They used to work for the same security company. Like a
Yeah.
chick that I see in Wilmington, like she got family that's related to, what I'm saying, Big Floyd. But apparently it was some kind of event where um George knew the event planner that set this up, and the event planner's venue for that event was, his brother owned the club, and it was a black centric event. You know what I'm saying? Like not no ratchet type shit, but people came dressed up. They had a code. It was, it was nice. It wasn't no
Mm-hmm.
drama, but like apparently the club owner, the guy, the booking agent's brother, he came up there and got his brother because they was handling business upstairs, setting up other events. They kept getting complaints from the patrons downstairs, like, yo, old girl told me all of this. She's like, they kept going up there, interrupting the meeting with the promoter and the club owner. You know what I'm saying? Talking to the other venue agents, the other event planners and stuff. The people kept coming up there to get them, saying, "Hey, what's going on with this security guard you got down here? He wigging out. He roughing up. You know what I'm saying? New entrances to the club, people coming in. He patting people down again after they already done came through the search. He pissing people off, man. And so the club owner went down. Now she told me this guy was swole, had a big build on him, and was carrying. He had his firearm. So that's Chauvin. Like if that brother wouldn't have had his mind on his money at the time and not wanting to jeopardize his brother's reputation, you know what I'm saying, at his events. That's the only, I believe that dude probably would have killed Chauvin right there. Cause he got down there to confront him. Chauvin tried to lie on Big Floyd that was on the other side. He was in a whole different part of the club, dealing with different people. But
Yeah.
he tried to put the blame on Big Floyd, like, yo, this is that black dude, that other guy over there. He fucking with the patrons, he harassing people, he this and that. And the people coming up like, nah, that's you, dude. You doing that. And so when the club owner, like, yo, you harassing my patrons, we gonna have a problem here for the night. And Chauvin hit the guy in the face. Now, like I say, this dude swole. He could have easily beat Chauvin ass, or he could have just pulled his firearm and offed him right there. But
Yeah.
he went upstairs and got, hey, this security guard that you got down here, bro, I'm gonna have to hurt him. So the club owner came down, and Chauvin, from that point, he got fired from that security company. And Big Floyd kept his job. See,
Mm-hmm.
they already had their little employee issues before that event, but that event came to a head, and Chauvin lost that security job. So he had a beef with Floyd ever since before then. So when he responded to that call, when he seen he was a responding officer there, that was his chance. He like, oh, I can get him now. He out
Mm-hmm.
here, or he's high, or he's spending counterfeit bills supposedly in the store, and I'm responding to the call. I can get him now. That was his opportunity. That's how I looked at that.
Okay. Anybody else that's up here, y'all can chime in, but one at a time though, because I don't want everybody to lap over each other. I'm trying to hear everybody. I guess they're away
Oh,
from their computers. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm here. I'm here. First off, I want to say thank you for allowing me to join in on your
You went out.
I think that's Vampire Hunter. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't hear him no more.
yeah. I heard him, but his audio went out. I don't know if he has a bad connection or whatever the case may be.
But you're right. Like, uh, I'm glad you brought up the sentencing, the guidelines as
Hmm.
far as the additional time he would get for the taxes. Each
Hmm.
one of those celebrities you named, they had, a lot of them was facing 5 to 7. Those like intermediate level charges. Like the time you get on tax evasion, things like that, it revolves around the amount of money that's not been paid back to the Fed. So like with celebrities and the artists and stuff like that, it's in the millions. They in different tax brackets than
Yeah,
us and lease and stuff. But if it's a considerable amount of property, um, investments, and other forms of passive income in between him and his wife, then
hmm,
they during the judge might grant him more time to get the divorce finalized and settled out, like to see how they gonna split the property. But more than likely, once he goes to prison, will they get him in there? Like anything he owned, the IRS is gonna garnish all of that shit because of what he owed
hmm.
to them,
Yeah,
depending on how much.
exactly. Because I forgot. Because I think when I first did the story about the tax evasion, they put in there how much he and his wife owed. And it was a lot of money. Like it was I think it was damn near six figures. Like that's how much they were holding back from the IRS. Like they were holding a lot of money back that they were supposed to put in or document for those years. And this is not just a 1 year thing. This was over a course of a few years that they
Oh,
were not doing payments. So it adds up, and it came back on him, and that's why I said because of what he did last year, it opened up all this other stuff about him that probably would have still been sealed had he not did what he did. So he really he really is like burying himself. When you think about it,
You said it's
and then
almost six figures.
let me go. I'm gonna see if I can go and look up on Google how much it was because I know they mentioned it.
I could tell you just off that number alone, he's gonna be in the boat with Wesley and Lauren Hill, like you brought. Like it'll
Oh
be
yeah,
at
okay.
least.
I found it. It says from this is that they face charges of underreporting their joint income from 2014 to 2019 by $464,433 and including more than $95,000 of that was earned off duty security work. So that's
Woo.
over five. So you talking about half, almost like damn near almost over $500,000 that
Yeah,
they that was not reported. Well, almost. Well, hold on, let me look at this. Yeah, over a $500,000. Less. Well, you know what I mean. A little over half that was not reported for 5 years between
I'll
the
say
both of them.
the only thing that might help him out, cause that's why the wife. Like I know this is a big part of why the wife divorced him. Outside of what he did to Big Floyd, like if she knowing and like you say she was probably helping him hide money from the Fed. If they
Mm-hmm.
hadn't, if all of that money is tied up in investments and properties and things like that, him and her can kiss all of that goodbye. Because whether she divorced him or not, you still attained this car, these houses, this vacation home, this business. You still acquired all of these things during your marriage to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everything he lose, she gonna lose too.
Exactly. And they also went on to say that they failed to file income tax returns and pay state income taxes. They underreported and underpaid taxes on income generated from various employments for each of the years that they did not file and failed to pay proper sales tax on a vehicle that they purchased. They said each charge carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine.
See, 5 to 7. I wasn't sure. That's why I just did a range as far as sentencing guidelines, but I knew like 5 to 7 was like the first that popped up in my head. But you saying for each individual charge, as far as the
Yes.
taxes, like that's a lot of
Yes.
time. That's a lot of
Yeah,
time.
because it says they one charge is underreporting, the other one is for fraudulently filing a tax return. One is failure to timely file the tax return. The other one is the failure to pay state income taxes, the failure to pay file income tax return, and a failure to pay on a tax on a vehicle.
Well, I can say for certain they might be in less trouble with the Fed at this point than the state. Because I don't, well, I take that back because it's they in Minnesota, but I know here in North Carolina, man, like they straight rate me like state. I looked at my 1099 from when I was getting unemployment. Them
Mhm.
jokers they got me for almost 5 grand, bro. Like
Wow.
47, $4,700, 63 cents.
Well, and they want it all the way down to the penny. They not playing.
Yes, yes, by the penny. So the state. Well, the first thing that get taken, I can say that for certain. That's gonna be state straight up. So the house him and her had, condo, cars, whatever. The state taking all that shit. I can tell you that right now.
Exactly. And yet I had to let people know about them tax evasion charges because a lot of people didn't know about that because that went under the radar. Like I had
I
to
didn't
go
know.
look up the yeah, I had to go look up the arc. See, the thing is that came out literally almost exactly a month after he murdered George Floyd. So it came out, and you got to think a lot of stuff was going on at the time because you got to think that happened in May, at the end of May. Then you had the murder of Rayshard Brooks happen like a couple weeks later. And then that came out, and they kind of slipped that or slid that in there. But listen, as a person that was heavily following what was going on, I made sure to talk about this. I was one of the few people that did a video about that because everybody was talking about the murder. That's all
Hmm.
they kept talking about. The news outlets didn't really talk about that. So I'm not surprised. They really didn't talk about it. The most they talked about was his wife saying she was going to leave him or separate from him, but they rarely talked about those tax charges that they were facing. And that's a lot. That's a lot of money they did not report. That is a lot of money. Like that, like $464,000 plus $95,000. That's over $500,000 that they did not report for the course of 5 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So that's she might not be able to walk away scot free from this shit either. Like him,
I hope
she
I
might
hope
end up.
I hope she don't either. Like seriously.
My volume just messed up, man. Like some while you was reading that up, somebody called me. Now I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's my phone. Now my sound is messed up. Somebody on the call and shit, man. Can you hear me?
Darlene said, "Yeah, I can hear you." Darlene in the chat, she said, "I wonder how many years he's going to get for the tax evasion." Well, I don't know if you heard me when I was reading the article, but based on it, with all the charges that they have, they said they face about 5 years for each charge, and they already up like about four charges.
Woo! As I say, that's a lot of time. Like,
Yeah,
so
so
he
like
might.
I'm gonna read the charges again, so people in the chat in case they missed it. Um, they face charges of underreporting their joint income for 5 years from 2014 to 2019. Um, they also face charges for failure to timely file Minnesota individual income tax returns from 2016 to 2019 and fraudulently filing tax returns from 2014 to 2019. So that's three charges right there. They also failed to file income tax returns and pay state income taxes, underreported and underpaid taxes on income generated from various employments each year, and failed to pay proper sales tax on a vehicle. That's like six charges right there.
5, 10, 15, 20. That's up
And then
to
on top,
another 20 years.
and then on top of that, they also got to pay a $10,000 fine. If convicted. So it's like, but like I
Yeah.
said, him doing what he did last year unearthed all of this because if he didn't do what he did, we would have never known. Well, first off, we would have never knew who George Floyd or Derek Chauvin was, or them other three terrorists that was with him, or his wife, or none of them. But now that he's done that, he literally has opened up his own can of worms. And like I said, don't forget they mentioned about what happened with the teenager that he kneeled on his neck and did a couple years before, and he did it longer. Like they said, he kneeled on this boy's neck for damn near 20 minutes. That's why I was surprised that the boy survived.
Me too. Shit. 20 minutes.
Because
And then
George Floyd was what, almost 9. But he didn't. I don't think he put as much pressure on the boy's neck. So when they did that, and they came back and said that he kneeled on George Floyd's neck for less time and he killed him by doing that, that means like he put even more pressure on him.
but that's why I told you that little story that the chick I used to see from Wilmington, she told me that one weekend we hooked up. That's why I told you all that, because see, with the kid, it wasn't personal. With Big Floyd, it was personal because they had
Yeah.
beef, like I said, from when they were doing security together. So that's the difference.
And today
But
was the first time I ever heard him speak. And the minute he opened his mouth, I wanted him to shut it.
if he did wherever he spoke at, I didn't hear that shit.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear shit.
like because I don't know if he was watching it, but they let his family speak, and thank God his family did not get on that forgiveness tip. Like none of them said it because my heart was about to jump out of my chest if they would have said something about forgiveness, and they didn't. So I'm glad they didn't do that. His family spoke, then his mother spoke in typical Karen fashion, and like said a whole bunch of BS, and it was like, okay, lady, whatever, get off. Then I think I forgot who it was that came after his mother. Then his attorney spoke, and then Derek Chauvin spoke. And I was looking the whole time that he was saying something because he literally only spoke for like a minute. I was just looking at him in just pure disgust. Like, what can you say? What can you possibly say that will like try to soothe what you did? Like, you literally had the whole world up in arms. we've never seen nothing like that before, and you single-handedly did it.
It ain't nothing you can say. That's why whatever he did say, I didn't see it. I never knew he spoke, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
want
he
to hear
spoke.
shit he had to say anywhere. I wouldn't want to hear it. But if you say 5 years for each of those charges concerning those
Mm-hmm.
taxes, you
Mm-hmm.
you read like five. Like that's almost that's up to another 20 years for him
Mm-hmm.
and for her if she get charged.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Hey,
And the
oh
thing
well.
is, and the thing is about the tax. You know what the thing about the tax evasion charges and everything? Um, that couldn't have come out at a worse time for him because you got to think he just was caught on camera murdering this man, and then literally less than a month later, those tax evasion charges get hit on him and his wife.
Mhm,
Like literally before a case could even be start to be built up around this trial.
mhm,
And it's like, and then some more stuff came out about him, and then the judge didn't, because they tried to do a retrial because of what happened with the juror and everything, saying he went to that protest and whatnot. They tried to feed off of that to get a new trial. The judge denied that. So what happened today is like locked in place, so they cannot even retry this. It's locked and sealed. It's done. Then the other three cops, they got indicted on, I think, federal charges. So
mhm.
their trial is not going to happen until next year. But I think they have some kind of civil trial coming up soon that's happening this year, which he also too got indicted on as well. Like he literally got indicted and found guilty on on everything. There's nothing he was not found guilty of.
Hey, you know what? That's good. And the best thing about it is the people, the judge, everybody that overseen his trial, they like you said, them charges with the taxes couldn't have came out at a worse time. Because not only now do we know this dude is a killer, he's a killer, and he don't like to pay his taxes either. And he walking around
Mm-hmm.
with a badge on. He walking around with a badge on.
Exactly.
So this about to put magnifying glasses on little dirty ass police departments like he was a part of all across the country. That's good. That's a good thing.
Exactly. And see now, like I said, that's they also believe that now because he was found guilty of this murder trial, should he go to trial for the tax evasion, that's going to actually pretty much help them seal the case to find him guilty of that as well, because he got found guilty of this. Because like sometimes they'll use, I know they say that they shouldn't use what happened in one situation with another one because they're two different crimes, but the fact of the matter is they have proof that he didn't pay his taxes. So there you
Hmm.
go,
And then
him and
so
his
what?
wife.
Him and his wife, and then like they do that to us all the time. You know, it's
Exactly.
when black people do something, man, they gonna find out if you when you got suspended in fifth grade because you beat up somebody that was bullying you. They gonna go far back as they can find.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I said what I loved about this, because they rarely ever do that with these cops, especially them
Mhm.
palm colored cops. They didn't do it with Amber Geiger, but they made sure to do it with what's his name? Didn't they do it with the who was it? The
You talking about the
then
brother
they
that shot the brother that shot the white lady? You talking about
yeah,
Muhammad Noor?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, they did it with
Yeah.
him.
And I'm shocked because guess what? He guess what? Derek Chauvin got more years than him, and it happened in the same state.
But it's like I said, it's cops got that term exigent circumstances when there's no time to observe a situation. Like in them kind of times, you just move and react. But the circumstances was different. With Muhammad Noor, him and his partner, they just sitting there casing it, in a dark alley, and then you just got this lady that ran up to their window, and he
Hmm.
was coming from the other side, like across from his partner. So he drew and fired past his partner because he didn't know what she was gonna do. She might have
Exactly.
been in distress and coming for help, but she scared him, and he fired one shot, and killed her. But
Yeah.
George,
And also like remember the case that was in Louisiana with that white guy who was on a high speed chase with his son in the car, and they stopped him and
yeah,
pulled him over, and they shot through the window because he tried to use his car as a vehicle, like he tried to back into him, and this all caught on the dash cam, and they shot into the car. but they didn't know his son was in the front seat, which he should not have been even in the car, considering he was on a high-speed chase. They shot through the window, shot the boy in the head. He died. And the two cops get arrested and thrown in jail, and nothing happened to the dad who put his son's life in danger, which caused his own son to get killed. And the only
Yeah, it's his
time that
fault.
the only time that the dad goes to jail was for a domestic abuse situation that following year, not for
Mm-hmm.
having his son's life in danger and causing the death of his son. But they throw the two black cops in jail, and apparently it was some more history between one of the cops and the dad. Apparently, the story goes that one of the cops was messing around with this man's girlfriend or something to that effect. So apparently he knew one of them. So I don't know, what it was, but I think that one of the cops did get released from jail. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. But they had threw some heavy numbers on them for something that was legit an accident. They did not know that boy was in that car. It's not like they went up to the window, saw him there, and just shot him in the head. They didn't know he was there. The dad used his car as a vehicle. He was backing up into them and tried to hit them with the car, and they shot through the window to stop him. But they didn't know that it was another passenger in the car, much less his son. And then on top of that, I think they said the son had autism. So why would you have your autistic son in the front seat with you anyway? I don't care if it was broad daylight. They should have been in the back
Mm-hmm.
seat.
In the back seat, I didn't know about that, about the kid being autistic, but I do remember that story. And I'm glad you pointed out, like, the you focused on them not knowing that the kid was in the back because they didn't see him. But just
Because it
thinking
was
about
dark.
that
Because it was dark.
situation.
Because it was dark outside when it happened, and they were not in a well lit area at that. So the only light they had was their headlights and tail lights, and that was it. And I remember vividly looking at that dash cam footage, and I'm sure that you can just go online and look, and it's still there. Like they pulled him over because he was on a high speed chase. Like he literally was. I forgot where he was driving from. I think he had gotten to it with someone at a gas station, and someone at the gas station called 911, and then that's
Mm-hmm.
when they went after him. And he was driving. They pulled him over, and when he saw that they had their guns drawn, he tried to use his vehicle as a weapon because he saw, and I knew he had to do it because he backed up and saw someone there, and he used his car as a weapon. And when the minute he backed up, pop, 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 and went through the window, the boy got shot. He died. But they arrested the cops because the boy died, and not the dad for having him on a high speed chase that led to the boy being killed. 007 Spidey, to you, were you trying to say something? Because I think I heard your
Hello,
voice.
can you
I
guys
heard
hear
him
me?
speak.
I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you, brother.
Yep, y'all can hear me. All right. First out, shout
Yeah.
out to you, Gnome King. Thanks for coming in, man.
Salute, brother. Good to
Are we?
see you, man.
Are we on? Yep. Are we only talking about the Chauvin trial, or can we also dive into other topics as well?
I mean, you can. We were just talking about that right now because that was like a breaking story right now. I mean, but there's something else that you wanted to
Yeah, but
mention. Go ahead.
yeah. I wanted to mention something that actually came out a few weeks ago, but I'm not sure if you've if you've made a video about it yet. But I just feel like I have to mention it. So, Dr. Cosby, Mr. Cosby, once again has another blow. He did not get granted parole. They want that man to suffer and die and perish in jail. That's just a blasphemy all around.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
They
And it's like all over him not wanting to take some bullshit courses. You know what I'm saying? Now, for somebody who doesn't want to take some courses, that should tell you something. Either he's really guilty or the man's really innocent. And I'm willing to think the
mm-hmm.
latter, that he's really innocent, especially after you look at all the evidence and facts. Most of them women were whores, and we just gotta
Yep.
call that stuff out, man.
Yeah, I didn't really
Ain't no
hear
way
too
that
much
ain't no
about
way.
that. Yeah, I didn't really hear too much about that because lately what I've been noticing is they've been keeping a lot of Cosby stuff like real low key until they can find something quote unquote juicy enough to run with. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
that one wasn't as much of a attention grabber as they wanted it to be. But if I know Nicole's view, and shout out to her, she's on it. And I'm sure that she probably did a
She's
video
on it
about
every
it or a
time.
podcast, and or maybe in a live stream, and I might have missed it. But um, yeah, like they definitely railroaded Bill Cosby and harshly, and still are. And you know what's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and you know what's going to happen when this man passes on. All them people that had all this bad stuff to say about him going to say how much of an inspiration he was, how much of an icon he was, how much he did for the black community, how much he did for the black entertainers and actors and all this kind of stuff. I'm like,
Exactly.
we've got our
Exactly.
eye on you. We peeped y'all from early on in the stuff that y'all was saying, but now because the man is dead, you want to come out and be
Exactly.
fake and phony and
They
say how
they
much you appreciated him.
they got to do that. They capitalize off his death. It's in a monetary means. You know, it's about that
Exactly.
dollar, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And another and this kind of tracks into the up into another person I want to talk about. Kwame Brown. Now Kwame Brown, as you know, he's been calling out everybody out, man, from Stephen A.
Mm-hmm.
Coon to Dr. Moise Walker. That's my new nickname for Dr. Boyce. It's Dr. Moist because he's acting really moist. Like, what did Kwame do to you, man? What made you want to interject yourself into the conversation? He wasn't bothering you. What you need to do is just focus on yourself, man. Then the man just get married. Like, go focus on your wife,
Yeah.
man. Like, what the
Mm-hmm.
hell?
Mm-hmm.
And
Misery
and and
love
here's
company,
something. And
man.
let me tell you something, Doctor. And let me tell you something, man. Like, Boyce Watkins was one of those many black folk who was on the attack Cosby train. And I just find it ironic, man. Like, you talk about uplifting black people and all that kind of stuff, but it's like you literally have joined in on the attack on two black men. And think about it. He's talking about he's building this school. Correct me if I'm wrong, but unlike Cosby, I never heard anybody come out and say like, "Hey, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Boyce Watkins." So it's like, where's the school at? I haven't seen no pictures or no promotion for it. Like, what's going on with that? That's just something I got to point out.
You're right. I didn't pay that attention with Dr. Watkins at first, but as I just noticed, like when it came to the Cosby trial, while it was still going on, like I'm like, man, he ain't never got nothing good to say about, you know what I'm saying, Dr. Cosby, man. Like, you got some other ones that they might bash him. Some of the comedians, like they'll jump in on the jokes, about him putting Molly in the chicks' drinks and all that. But then they'll still tell you about at one point in time, he was America's dad. You remember they used to call him that? But it's
Yeah.
like that. I started
Exactly.
paying attention to
Exactly.
Dr. Boyce, man. I was like, this Dr. Boyce, man, this is below the behavior and attitude you're showing towards Dr. Cosby right now in a vulnerable state, kicking another brother while he down, like a brother with your intelligence and his, you know what I'm saying, his educational background, like that kind of thought process should be beneath somebody like him. You know what I'm saying? But
Great
you
point.
right,
Great. That's
Double O
such a great
Seven.
point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And let me say one more last thing before Joseph injects and brings up whatever he wants to bring up. DL Hughley, I'm waiting for yours, bro. I'm waiting for yours because you was one of the main ones, bro. So I'm waiting for that man to get his karma. That's the last word on that.
Hmm.
True. He had a close call with COVID, man. DL need to sit his ass
Oh
down
yeah, last
somewhere.
year.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, because he was
We
doing
can
a
hear you,
stand up
brother.
and he had passed.
What's up,
He had
Joseph?
did a stand up and he passed out on stage.
What's up, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's up,
All right.
What's up, Joseph?
I apologize for
Man.
So y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. We can hear you.
All right. Let me just say I'm disappointed with Michael B. Jordan actually bowing down to Nicki Minaj's rants. for that rum he was about to put out.
Say
But
what?
Uh, yeah, I heard.
yeah,
Yeah, I know
He
I know what you're talking about.
apologized.
from what I read from some of the Twitter feeds, yeah, apparently the pressure kind of got to him, and he said, from what I heard, he was going to change the name of his rum, which really all he was doing was paying tribute to the Caribbean culture, which has French influence on it. And
Mm-hmm.
what's crazy is this era, people are already sensitive about cultural appropriation when other groups have appropriated foundational Black American culture since forever. Can we say hip hop as a
Exactly.
prime
Exactly.
example?
Yes. Preach.
Hold on.
And what's
I can
crazy,
go further. I can even go further. Can we say rock and roll?
Yes. Yes,
jazz.
man.
Pretty much every genre of music.
Yep. And
Every
Nicki
single one.
Minaj. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm glad he mentioned rock and roll. Like everybody talk about Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. I'm like, get the hell out of here. The king of rock and roll was motherfucking Little Richard. Little Richard was that dude.
And and let me add something before Mr. Washington continues. Not that long ago, but of course, lamestream media didn't touch on it. Quincy Jones said that Elvis Presley was a rapist. I mean, was a racist. How come that's not being blowed up? But I'm gonna let Joseph continue on his thought.
And I'm surprised Nicki Minaj would come out at this time and even do this, of all people. She needs to clean her closet of her skeletons before she does anything else. But you know how her fan base is. Anytime
Hmm.
someone criticizes her, here come the barbs.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Twitter yesterday seeing like a barrage of Nicki Minaj fans saying this, that, and the third. And when someone brought up Nicki Minaj's whole persona at the beginning of her career was a little Kim, you could just
Yep.
flip a mirror up to Nicki
Yeah,
Minaj and put it side by side to Little Kim, and it was like, yep, that's so true. And they haven't squashed anything yet to this day, have they?
No, no.
that's my
She
knowledge.
she still don't show no respect to Kim, man. Like all them chicks follow her. Lil Kim set the path for all the Trinas, all the City Girls, all the Kayas, all the Jackie O's. Everybody followed that. That was Kim. All Kim.
Yeah. And some side tried to post Little Kim as non FBA, but her parents are like from Trinidad. I don't know if that's really, but what's crazy with this is everybody now is trying to revise history and rewrite the history of us Black Americans as a people. It's just sad. And speaking of George Floyd, it's really insulting that they're erecting statues across all 50 states, yet no anti-black crime bill to protect us from these assaults.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
Because apparently we're supposed to be okay with the symbols and everything like that. Like we didn't ask for that. Just like we didn't ask for Juneteenth to be a federal holiday.
yeah.
how about how about that? Instagram was a mess. I saw some folks on there saying Happy Juneteenth that weren't black. I'm like, wow, y'all on that already? Okay,
I was saying Happy Juneteenth before it became popular to say it.
we all
Mm,
were.
yep.
And
All
guess
of
what?
us.
And guess what I'm gonna be
Exactly.
saying next. And guess what I'm gonna be saying next month. I'm gonna be saying Happy what's his name? Happy Micah Johnson Day and Happy Gavin Long Day because
You
you know what
understand?
they did happened
You
because
understand?
what they both did happened in July, like literally almost a week apart. So I'm definitely going to be saying that. I bet you they ain't gonna make that a federal holiday.
Right. Oh, and I
And
mentioned
see,
this last
and
week.
see,
And go ahead, Spidey. Sorry.
yeah. I'm just gonna say this quickly. Like, let me tell you something. When they made Juneteenth a federal holiday, they literally opened a can of worms. Now you're gonna see all these big chain corporate stores like at Walmart's and your targets capitalizing off of that.
Yep.
I just had to make that comment.
It's
Oh
the
yeah, they're
truth.
gonna they gonna heavily
But
commercialize it next year.
what
Oh,
we
they got it ready. They gonna have it
what
planned and
what
everything out. They have it all planned out of what they're gonna do like for next year, and like you said with the stores, so people can go and buy. And I said that's gonna take money out of black owned businesses for people who were already doing stuff like that before they made it a federal holiday. Because now they figure, why do I have to go and shop with you when I can go to Wally World and get me a Juneteenth shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. They knew what they were doing with that.
exactly,
About that money. It's about that money, man. At the end,
Mhm.
exactly.
because it's capitalistic society, man. Like Taurean said, like I can already see it next year when Juneteenth come around. You're gonna start seeing the signs and the commercials on the radio. What's going on sale? Hey, we got this on sale for Juneteenth. Like I can see it. I can see it coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So let me
someone
Exactly.
say,
I forgot who said someone said
And I
something in
have
the
something
chat. Someone said, "Oh, Vincent Taylor said Happy Nat Turner Day." Now you know they ain't gonna, you know they ain't about to do that.
That's a
They
good one.
not they you know they definitely not about to do that. But that's fine because that's something that means that's just something that's there for just for us. And I have no problem with that. Just like
exactly.
when Malcolm X birthday rolls around, which is May 19th, and that just feels even better because he's a tourist just like me. So that just makes it feel even better to say Happy Malcolm X Day or Happy Christopher Dorner Day, and that was during Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
hey, let's just make sure that those of us in the
Exactly.
chat room and on the
And I have some and go back to black.
You went out, Spidey.
What? Why I stopped?
Oh, all right. Just real quick, let those of us who are in this live stream chat room, Streamlabs, those of us who are on code and are about supporting Black business, everything they do, dominant society, these aspiring whites, let's quadruple down on what we do for those of us who are on code. Anything coming up, grassroots Black wise, let's quadruple our support on it.
Hmm.
Like,
That's why,
to
yeah, that's why last year during August, like a lot of people didn't know, August is called Black Business Month,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally like I didn't. It maybe not have been every day, but a few days out of every week last year, I highlighted a certain Black business that I was supporting, and I helped spread the word because we don't have the capital to commercialize our businesses like a lot of these other mainstream outlets. And so I did what I could do on my platform in order to have people go and support them. And I did have some people that reached back out to me and told me that they ordered some of the things that I was talking about on those videos. I was advertising a pancake syrup. And I had so many people come to me and tell me and say, Torian, I ordered this pancake syrup that you were talking about, and they had multiple flavors, and I had bought the different flavors that they had, and all of them were good. And they were saying, I'm going to go and order me some more. So I felt good in that aspect because I wasn't getting paid by that company to do that. I did that out of the kindness of my heart because I believe that we definitely have to have a push. As far as I'm concerned, the person whose product I was advertising, she didn't even know that I was doing it. I never told her. I didn't ask her could I do it. I just did it. And some of the other stuff that I talked about in my videos over time, so it can promote it. Just like when I did the Black Wall Street Challenge, and I said for at least one day out of this week, advertise or go and support a black owned business and advertise where it is and what they specialize in. And I had people that supported that as well because what happened with it was the 100-year anniversary. So I do whatever it is that I can. I know I'm not as big as a CNN or ABC or NBC or anything like that. I'm not a conglomerate, but I do what I can with the means that I have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes. Somebody got to try. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
actually I had this brother I was working for doing security. Like, all I can say is, brother Joseph Washington, his advice, like, but make sure it's somebody that's down for the cause and not just for self.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was riding hard for this dude.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I
And he screwed me. He screwed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
yeah.
filed
Here's the
I
thing.
filed my certification request to get, certified the guard, because you got to spend a certain amount of time as an unarmed guard before you can, get a license to carry and take armed jobs, which is where the money is, doing security. I told him all of that. Like, this, I'm not trying to stay deadlocked on one position, but it was taking so long for me to get my certification back. So I called up there to Raleigh on my own, where they process them. I'm like, do y'all got anything for me from this company? They're like, no. He never turned nothing in for you. I got this paperwork processor for this individual, and she started naming people. I'm like, well, what the hell? Why is their paperwork getting
Yeah.
processed and mine not? So when I went to get my last paycheck from the dude, I confronted him. I'm like, yo,
Mm.
what's going on? And he telling me my shit got denied. I'm like, how did it get denied if it never got sent in? You know what I'm saying? So from that point, he looked like he
Dang.
seen a ghost. I was like, you know what? It's all good. It's straight. I took my check, you know what I'm saying? Went outside, took his jacket, his hat, all his shit off, threw it in the back of his truck, and it was raining that day too. I threw that shit in the truck bed and I fucking left. And that was the last time he seen me. I'm like, you use me, it's cool, but I use you too. I got what I needed out of you. I got a new car and a pocket full of money, so I'm straight. But just, if y'all gonna support black business, man, make sure that they people that's down for the cause. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
that's really
And
trying to see
trustworthy.
us
Exactly. And that,
improve collectively.
and
And I saw that someone had wrote in the chat. I think it
yeah,
was Jay
and as
Black. He
much
said
as
he
much.
he said he purchased that. Huh? I was looking in the chat, and Jay Black said he had purchased that bean pie and sauce from Chef Daryl's Food, and that was the bean pie that I had ordered. Let me give you like a little backstory about that. And this is why he would always have my business. So I ordered that bean pie because I always wanted to try it. I never had one, and I always heard people talk about it. But I was kind of skeptical because it said bean pie, so the name of it kind of threw me off. So I ordered one from him, and I was looking around and everything, and I ordered one from him. And the thing is, I couldn't go to the NOI because at the time, like Woovit was still like whatever, and they weren't really out there like they usually are. And the mosque is like literally like 10 minutes from my house. So I ordered one from him, and it came via UPS. And so that was already a risk right there because UPS is kind of up and down. And
Mm-hmm.
I got it and I opened it up and I saw the pie and I was like, why does it look like this? I said it was all leaning to one side and everything like that. It didn't look right. I said, what's going on? But I did not want to quickly blame him because I knew that he wouldn't have sent anything out there that looked like that. It was pretty much the fault of the drivers and whoever handled it because it was a perishable item. So I tried to call UPS. Nobody was answering because nobody's answering. Like you would literally have to go up there physically and get in their face and damn near have to cuss them out about what's going on. But I wasn't about to do all of that. So I sent him a picture of what the pie looked like, and he said he was sorry about what happened. And I said it's not your fault, it's the fault of UPS. And he says, what we can do is I can send you another one out free of charge through another delivery service. And he did. And I got it that following week through FedEx, and it was perfectly fine. So he didn't charge me. So I basically, it was like in a replacement, and he honored my wishes to have it be delivered through another carrier. Because I asked him, when you send this one out, can you not send it through UPS? Can you send it through another carrier? And he did it through FedEx. So he literally went around what he would usually do. So it's obvious that he has a contract with UPS and not FedEx, if that's what he had to do, in order to ensure that it was good customer service. And that's really how it was supposed to be. Like he didn't charge me for another one. He honored my wishes to have it sent through another carrier, and it came through in a timely manner. And I'm gonna tell you this right now: that bean pie was so good, that thing was gone by the end of the week, and I got it halfway through the week. that thing did not. That thing did not last.
I tell you, man. I tell you. Listen,
Yeah,
I
that thing
tell
did
you,
not
man,
I
last
want to
long.
get
I
one.
gotta give me one of those someday.
Me too. I've been wanting to try one. I
But
ain't
yeah,
never had one.
about black,
Yeah, it's real good.
yeah, yeah, about yeah. Just something else to add about black businesses. You know, as much as I want to support them, and I do, like, but it's like, you know, some of these black businesses are located in high areas of crime. I feel like we in our community need to get a hold of this crime in our community before, well, it's already out of hand, and especially in my city of Milwaukee here, because if you don't know, Milwaukee's like in the top 10, probably even top 5 most crime filled cities. And let me just tell you
Hmm.
something real quick. You know, I think I watched a news, or yeah, I think I read something the other day where it said, like, you know, one of these Republicans lawmakers here in my state of Wisconsin, you know, they're actually talking about sending the National Guard here and to stable this crime control. Now that kind of has me going scared. Now, if it was the community, if it was us calling for this stuff like we should be, because I you know, because you know, and you know, if you watch Harvey's videos, he's actually said something similar, and I agree with him. We need to get the military and former law enforcement that look like our community, and crime will go down. But you know, once these folks, man, once you know, especially these Republicans and politicians start crying for them, you know, that's when you need to get scared, because you know they're not gonna really, you know, talk with the community. We're not gonna be at the table, so that means,
Hmm.
all shit is gonna break loose. You know, ain't no telling what's gonna happen, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
That's
they'll
just
make
something to
sure to
think
put
about. I don't, you
they'll
know,
put officers in our communities that don't look like us. Like you said, like put people around that can relate. Somebody that look like the people that's there, that's living somewhat of the same kind of life they living. Then even the criminals, the gangbangers, the dope dealers, they more inclined to listen to somebody like that versus some peckerwood that probably come from the
yeah,
suburbs somewhere, ain't had a problem in life, and he coming to your area looking down on you, and
Hmm.
everybody like you. That's the
And that's
difference.
strategic, and that's strategic. Like, you know, that's like all by design to go into these neighborhoods and I say plant them, because they don't just go. They simply plant them there to basically, you know, wreak havoc. And it's like, we don't know who you are. Many of us, like many, there's a lot of people that are very tight with their neighbors. Some people see everything that goes in and out, if they really are that, you know, observant. And if we don't see you, then it's like we question you. Like, for instance, I'll never forget this one. I remember going to the store that's like right up the street from where I live. And I saw this heavily methed out, needle mark all over her body, crackhead, palm colored woman. Looked like she was about to die in the street when I was going to the store. And I thought, I was like, is this my street, or am I driving through the safari? Because I had never seen her before. And I was like, where did she come from? I haven't seen her since. And I was like, where did, like, that was my initial reaction. I was like, where did she come from? Because I had never seen her before ever, and I haven't seen her since. And this was back before the pandemic, so this was like maybe 2 or more years ago when I saw it. I'll never forget it. It was so weird, and it was so disgusting, because I was like, wow. When I saw that, it had made me thought about all of those opioid videos that I had done on my channel. When I saw that, I'm like, what crack house did she just leave that's
Hey,
near where I live,
salute
that I even
Torian
know
for
was
that.
around?
exactly.
Y'all need to salute Torian for that, man. Like we besides Lisa Cabrera and like
Exactly.
True Raw, people like that, TR been the only one to stay on top of the opioid ep- uh, epidemic or whatever. Because the news they don't talk about that.
They
They ain't
really
talking
don't.
about how they ain't like in a prime area where real estate is getting developed, all that stuff, like Wilmington in North Carolina. They building it up so fast they running out of room down there.
Hmm.
All these new properties, new businesses, and revenue coming to the area.
Mm.
Y'all gonna bring drug dealers, and if y'all
Oh yeah,
the drug dealers come, the money follows. The drugs come after that, and the fiends come with the drugs. It's a
it's
chain.
interesting. And it's interesting you said it, because Lisa
No,
had just did a
no, no.
video a couple weeks ago when she was talking about the DMV. where I'm located, and she was saying how in that area or in this area that the opioid usage or overdoses is going up. I said I doubt it's from black people, and the reason why I say that is because the DMV area is becoming heavily gentrified. I mean, it's literally going through it right now. There's a place in DC that was very popular called Berry Farms, which was built up by former mayor Marion Barry, and it was basically a housing development in Ward 8 where a lot of black people were living at, and a lot of black people lived there for years. But now Berry Farms is no longer there. Like they literally knocked all of that down, and they're putting these high-rise condos over there. They're building this new bridge because where it is how it is, it's like you go on that side. They're building some high-rise condos. There's a bridge right there that leads into towards downtown, and on that downtown side, after that bridge, you have the national stadium where the baseball team plays at, and literally across the street is the soccer stadium. Like they're literally within walking distance of each other. That is very rare to see two major stadiums that close to each other. And in DC, might I add, in DC is not a big place, but I will say this. DC may not be that big, but you can easily get lost up in there. Make one wrong turn and that's it. I don't care what your GPS reroutes it as. If you make one wrong turn in DC, that's it. That is it. You're gonna be like, I'm too turned around. I'm going back home.
The architecture of DC is proof of that. I went there 3 years ago to see Jason Black's film Race War. I turned around 3 times to make sure I was at the subway station and the street the movie theater was in before I could leave that station and go to that theater. And by the way, their electrical circuit in that theater needs some work. I was trying
Wait a
to
minute,
talk.
hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You said you went to go see Race War in DC when Jason
Yes.
Black was. I was there, but see, you know what? See, at the time, I probably wouldn't have known who you were, but I was there. I went to that.
Wow.
I
I
was.
guess we just missed each other.
Yeah, like I was definitely there because I know exactly where it's at. Now I won't get lost getting there because that place where it was at is driving distance is probably well with the way I drive, probably like 5 minutes. So I know exactly where that location is. It's like right there, right before you get to the DC line, and it's like right there, and it's right there across from the Southern Maryland, no, the Southern Avenue Metro Station.
Yeah, that's where I came from. I took the train from downtown Baltimore to DC to go see it.
Well, yeah, you know, that's probably a good idea that you did because I know their traffic would have been ridiculous, especially since that's probably right around rush hour traffic. So, yeah, I definitely did go. I was definitely there. I remember going to see it, and that was quite an experience to actually go and see that particular film because that was a very good documentary.
It is. Did you see the white guy come in the theater and saw all of us sitting waiting to see the film and turn right back around and left?
I don't know if I was paying attention because I was near the front. So I probably wasn't even paying attention to it because I was so wrapped into what was going on with that screening. But I can believe it though. And there was a lot of people there too. Like cuz when I had got there it was a line. Like the line was wrapped around. Not outside the door, but it was wrapped around the inside where we were standing waiting to get in.
Yep. It was an
Shouts out to DC.
experience.
That's a great city.
Is that what you say?
I said shouts out to DC. That's a great city. I've been there twice. That's a great city.
I remember when DC used to be called Chocolate City. I can't really call it that no more. Not with the way it's been. Not with the way it's been gentrified heavily. Like
Is it
I can't.
Neapolitan?
I wasn't gonna say that, but I guess you could say that's a way that you could put it. But yeah, but DC is definitely not Chocolate City anymore by far. But that was the title that DC used to have years ago because it was a majority black city. Like, you know, the only time you really saw white people coming to DC was during the week when they had to go to work. After that, they would disperse and go to Georgetown was literally probably the only place you'll find an influx of white people because that's the more upscale bougie part of DC. But everywhere else except downtown was mainly black.
Surprised? Why are we surprised?
Huh?
I said, why are we surprised? They're
Oh,
not going to be
I
nowhere
mean,
where we're at.
yeah, I'm literally not surprised. But if you like I said, Georgetown, it was probably like at that time, literally the most whitest part of DC you could find. Like they literally was in an enclave all on their own. Like if you went over into Georgetown, it was like going into another world. But then it's like as soon as you left Georgetown and came back like over the southeast and stuff like that, then you knew you was in the hood and stuff like that. You know, people used to be scared to go over in the southeast. So some people still are afraid to go to the southeast. It's not that it's going through gentrification right now, but it's not all the way gentrified yet. It's still some niggas over there. So you know, yeah. And I put
Oh,
it like
and
this. And I put it like this: when they came into DC on January 6th for the with the invasion and stuff, I was talking to the one LVZ, and we always joke about this. I said they can come into DC all they want, but they know not to cross that ass across Anacostia. That's as far as they gonna go. They are not going to Anacostia because they already know
Listen.
if you go to Anacostia, you gonna run into some stuff. Trust me, as a person that had travels into DC a lot, especially for like work and stuff like that. And when I used to work at the airport, I would have to take the train to from where I'm at over into Virginia, like cross two trains to do it. And going across Anacostia was one of them locations. And trust and believe, if I would be kind of like, when it came to Anacostia, then I know they wouldn't be able to handle it. So but thanks to gentrification, DC is not chocolate city anymore because DC used to only have one train line, and that's what we know as the red line because our trains are back colors. It's the red, orange, blue, green, purple, silver, orange. I think that's it. And I think they're trying to do a purple line too. But when they only had that one line, white people, if they when they came in, they would have to drive from wherever it was they were at and drive to the closest train station and then take the train into DC and vice versa, going back out of the city and come into order to go home. But because now everything's gentrified and they have more train lines, now many of them are moving into the city and pushing more black people out into the suburbs.
Yep. Driving up the property value, building more stadiums, malls,
Yeah.
and shopping complexes. Then the black people leave. They buy up all the property and they have to leave. Like
well, I have to.
that's gentrification. That's what it is. Like
Well,
Exactly.
I have.
That's all it is.
Well, I have to salute the people who live in
Gentrification is
Baltimore.
good.
I have to salute the people, the Baltimore homeowners who refuse to sell their house because of their knowledge of the gentrification. Because I've been to downtown a couple of times. They trying hard. They trying hella hard. I saw an Asian barbershop coming from the train station. I lie to you not. I saw a white and Asian barbershop.
real talk.
And
Like,
some of the hairstyles they were cutting, I was like, are y'all serious? Y'all can't. Y'all can't.
man, y'all killing me, man.
Hey, I saw the haircuts they was doing, and I was like, more power to you.
I said, as long as I live, I said I will never go into a white barbershop or anything or any barbershop that is not black owned, that has black barbers working in there. I will not. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how supportive of black businesses that I am. Like I literally go because I actually, some of y'all have seen me like when I have my camera on, sometimes I have cornrows in my head because I'm growing my hair out. So it goes all the way down to the point where I not only get my hair done or braided by a black female hairstylist, but the shop that she works in is owned by a black man who owns like 3 shops that I know of.
Nice.
It's people like
That's
that is
good.
what
That's
drove
good.
people like
That's
them is
black
what drove
excellence
the
right there.
towns. Black excellence, exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say people like those that business owner you just named. Those are the stock we come from that put Black Wall Street into place. That put Tulsa where it was. That put Rosewood, Florida where it was. That put Elaine, Arkansas where it was. That put Wilmington, North Carolina where it was. Like people like that. You know what I'm saying? And they know what we can do with just a little bit of opportunity. They know what our people can do. That's why they hate us.
Shoot, even the gym that I go to is black owned. And the person that I train with, their company is black owned, and all of their trainers are black.
That's
So
how that's
yeah,
how it's supposed to
it's,
be. Black owned with black money. That's how shit was.
yeah. And then I saw like I saw like one of the people that I work out with, who actually owns the company that I train with. They had posted up like a video of this black guy who is about to open his gym, and when I saw the virtual layout of how his gym is going to look, I was like, is this a gym or a theme park? Because I don't know if I want to go in there to work out or go like run around and play like I'm a big kid. Because the way that thing looked state of the art, it looked like, you know how like you have smart homes like and stuff like that. It looked like a smart gym. I've never seen something like that before for a gym, and that thing looked nice. And that was just the virtual layout of it, of what it's going to look like when it's done. So I can imagine what it's going to be like when it's done, and I think that's is going to be in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, which is definitely one of the most nicest places to live in Maryland, especially for Black folks. Because in case y'all did not know, PG County or Prince George's County is the richest Black county in America. Out of every county that has majority Black people, that this county that I live in
Wow.
has a
Wow.
lot of Black wealth in it.
That's like I'll say for Carolina, for North Carolina, like I be hearing a lot about Winston Salem. Like Winston. They say Winston is it. Like you will be all right if you're in the big cities like Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro. Like you might do good, but they like for black folk like Winston is it. Like I got a
Yeah,
girl from Jacksonville I met when I was in the military, like, and I watched her grow. She was homeless when I met her, and we separated for like 5 years, got back
Thank you
up,
for your
and when I went
service.
back up there and seen her, oh yeah, yeah, salute, Captain PY2 if you in here, uh, brother Jamal B, salute all the jarheads, man. But yeah, I met her up there, and she was homeless, but I went back and seen her. She had her own crib, had a car, had a job. She was doing good, but she was like, I'm not. I feel like I can do better. And she wanted to go to Winston, and like I felt like I'd be selfish if I was like all the other dudes that was after her, like you don't need to go nowhere, you need to stay here. Like they want close access to that pussy. They don't want her to go. You know what I'm saying? But I care about her, so I'm like I want you to go where you're gonna be happy. Go where you
mm-hmm.
not gonna have money troubles, where you ain't got to be like me. You know what I'm saying? You get a check, you pay a bill, and you broke. Like go where you know you're gonna do better. And she went to Winston, man. She doing good. Like I'm happy. But she like, you need to come out here. I'm like, I don't know, man. I ain't cut out for the city, bro. I'm a country boy.
Let me interject for Divest Twitter who may be listening to the playback after it's done. You just heard a black man looking out for a black woman. Sincerely.
Yeah, if you put it like that, yeah, true. Cause I'm like, I ain't got shit for her. Like I was doing more than cause she had other dudes. Like women got y'all bro fellas, just y'all got to deal with it. They got the options now. Like women got the like they get to pick, they get to choose. They got a money dude, they got a foodie dude for dinner dates. They got dude to go to the bowling alley and be seen with. Then they got that dude that just they hit up at 2:30 in the morning, like, come get me, come through. Like that's just
Right.
how it is now. That's how it is for sisters. So how bad you want to just depend on what tier you want to put yourself on in her eyes. That's all I can say, but that's how it is. Like fellas, y'all can love it or hate it, but that's the sisters is doing it. Black women doing it. Like they the most educated. They amongst the highest paid group of people in the country is black women. Black women is like that's it. They doing it. So fellas, like that's all I can say. If you got a chick and you know she got options, but if you care about her, do you really want to keep her where she is if she can do better going somewhere else? Yeah, it's like 3 hours from where I am to Jackson. It's like for me to go see her. So I don't see her. But I'm like, I'm not gonna try to keep you here if you're doing better. Like, cause she got one of her daughters staying with her now. Like all of that. Like it's different. And I'm glad she doing good. Everybody be like, man, you look out for your homeboys and all your women and shit, but nigga, what about you? Cause they know I'm fucked up. Like I'm fucked up, but I'm surviving. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I always been. Always been like that. If I have what I need, I'm good. Even though I'm hurting, yeah, I can be hurting, but if the people around me straight, I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'll figure it out.
That's how we got to be in this era. Keep pushing, keep building.
Facts.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
but y'all right
Exactly.
though about this gentrification, cause up at the place where me and her used to go for dates, like Wilmington, like I said, they running out of room. They running out of room in New Hanover County with how much they building so fast. And they done crept into Brunswick County, one county over, and they starting to run out of room there. So I've been talking to the people out in my area, telling them like, where y'all think they coming to next with all this clear cut country, you know what I'm saying? Nothing but woodlands and farms out here. Where y'all think they coming to next? When New Hanover County run out of room, when Brunswick County run out of room, they coming to Bladen County. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
they doing that shit in stages. As when I was working in the trades, I saw it because I took part in it. Going to do maintenance in these houses like out there in the rich part of town, Figure
So
Eight
you saw the
Island, and
firsthand. You saw the
yeah,
firsthand.
firsthand. That's right. Yeah, they one of the builders, the company I was working for had a contract with. He pulling hair out. Tall white dude. Like I don't compliment them motherfuckers much, but he had long pretty hair. He was pulling that hair out because he was stressed. Like these builders, man, they want us to put these houses up faster than my men can build them, and it's
Mm-hmm.
he working his dudes overtime. Like it's stressing him. The money coming in, but it's coming in too fast for him. You see what I'm saying? He can take it, but he can't deal with the work. His men can't deal with the work. But that's gentrification on overdrive, like Torian was saying. What he's seeing happen up there around the DMV is happening all over these certain towns,
Most
which
definitely.
which just so happen to be in their heyday predominantly black or Latino areas. You know what I'm saying? They taking our spots piece by piece.
Wow, just like that, with a snap of a finger.
Stroke of a pen. You know, they're getting it done. But
Almost definitely that gentrification, and the thing is that gentrification is something that's been going on long term. It's not something that they just started. This is years in the making, and then the people that are affected by it were not in any of the board meetings that they had. They just did it right underneath your noses while you thought everything was good.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That that's why whenever I see someone who's non-black like walking up and down the street where I live, I make sure to keep a close eye on them because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if they were a decade in the neighborhood or just fresh movers. Because sometimes they'll be fresh movers, they'll quietly live a decade there, and then all of a sudden you see new people coming in asking questions, and it's like, what's going on? Why didn't we get a notice of this, that, and the third? Also,
Or
some of these,
here,
go ahead.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead,
Sorry to
Double O
cut you
Seven.
off. Here's another thing they could be doing: crime. And all
You
yeah,
just read my
yeah.
mind.
Here's something else they could be doing: crime. Because you see somebody that don't look, you see somebody that don't look like you in your community. Then the next day you hear about some shooting, and it's like, okay, what do these two have in common? Like that's just something I have to point out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because when you pay attention to the UCR, the Uniform Crime Report that's released annually, they when you get into it online in the comment sections with them trolls, they love to throw out them statistics. If you look at them damn statistics, man, when you look at the group that get the most arrests each year, that get the most violent offenses each year, the most rapes, the most murders, the most B&Es, it ain't black people. We just happen to predominate the numbers incarcerated. So it ain't no way to get around the fact like the system itself is racist. Like you can't explain having more black men in jail locked up for outrageous sentences, but it's only a fraction of them compared to the palm colored that's committing violent offenses, that's selling the most drugs, that's doing the most break-ins, that's committing the most murders and rapes and all of that. Like it's a system, man. It's a beast. People don't get the gist of the name. Y'all remember the movie Belly from back in the day? That title,
Yeah.
Belly, the title Belly, that's what they talking about. The belly of the beast is what we
Exactly.
in.
The legendary Belly with DMX.
Yeah. Salute to, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to DMX, man. I was on
Yeah.
a string. I was on a string with Black Ram 313 and Oheen. Like we had a long talk about brothers not talking about mental health. Like you heard Black Wall Street Trapper thanking Charlemagne the God for talking about health and all of that, mental health of black men, because it don't get talked about. You know what I'm saying? And brothers on the street that it might be suffering from psychological issues.
Charlemagne the
When the
God.
cops
Wow.
get, that's just I already know that's a whole different conversation. Talk about that, brother, man. But that's why I stayed the chorus. But you know, like
You mean
black mental
Charlemagne the
health.
Coon? You mean Charlemagne the Coon?
Kwame Brown was going in on him, man. Like that. Look, listen. When it comes to Charlemagne, I keep shit, you know what I'm saying, cordial, just because I done met the brother a few times when I was in the military, and I'd be partying and shit down there in Myrtle Beach, Conway. I would see him in, you know, Florence, Darlington, see him at the G Spot a couple times, shit like that. Matter of fact, this dude Lil Rue, like I remember the rapper Lil Rue. Y'all remember nothing but
I
a
remember him.
nasty
I remember
song,
him
yeah.
because
Lil Rue.
I was when I was in college because I went to college in Columbia, South Carolina, and he was out during my college, era of my college days. So yes, I do remember who that is. I think he actually came to our school for a performance, or he was at a club that was in Columbia. I forget what it was, but yeah, I remember him.
Probably both. Probably both. He had to do a lot of touring because he wasn't getting no royalties. That's where Charlemagne come in. Because when me and Charlemagne was talking one night down there, fucking Lil Rue came in. You know what I'm saying? And he over there playing pool with his little entourage and shit. And Charlemagne walked over there, and I heard him like, "Yo, you know who you gonna sign to yet?" And Charlemagne tried to tell him like, because he was talking about Def Jam. Man, Def Jam, the biggest label, the best label. Man, like, you know how many dudes it is signed to them huge labels and nobody knows who the fuck they are because that
Yeah.
label don't do what it need to do to promote their project. Charlemagne and me, like both of us tried to explain that shit to Rue. Like, you don't need to sign with them.
And let me, and you can thank
Yeah,
that
go
to
ahead,
Jay-Z with his coon ass as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
No,
we
I
was
said
telling about Swisher
you
House.
can thank that to Jay-Z with his coon ass.
Yeah, Jay, like it is kind of foul how he's just stole Meek, got Meek to, you know what I'm saying, walk away from Ross. But Rose just told him be careful. Like that's all you can. Like a OG passing down the knowledge to the younger cat. Like just be careful. But Charlemagne, like we told Rule, like man, it's a possibility you might get on Def Jam, but if you don't do good on that first album, you flop, man. That's gonna be it. You're gonna be a one-hit wonder, and that's what he turned out to be. But
Yeah,
I was like,
because I haven't seen him since.
I was like, bro, because I mentioned Swisher House and Charlemagne. He's like, yeah, bro, look at what Swisher House did for Mike Jones, for Paul Wall, for Slim Thug, like, and it's Swisher House. Like at that time, you was in college, TR. Like you remember Swisher House was booming. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
with all the cats from Houston. So me and Charlemagne telling Root like, yeah, Swisher House, that'll be better for you than Def Jam. You might not get the same advance that you would get, the same artist advance that you would get from Def Jam because they bigger, more established. You might only get 800,000 or something from Swisher House, but they gonna promote your shit the way they should. They gonna get you tours. They gonna get you big event. Like they gonna do what they got to do because they are aspiring label. Def Jam already at the top, so they just scouting the best talent. But you know, I don't know how Root
yeah,
doing. I ain't seen him since the last time I seen him. He was at the Rocks in Wilmington. Like This was a few years back, but like,
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was in college, and I graduated college in 2011. So that's that was a while ago, and I don't
yeah,
even think I
long,
heard about.
long
I don't
time
even
ago.
think. Yeah, I don't even think I heard about
A
him
whole
even
10
before I
years. A
graduated
whole
college.
10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, a long time. Like, but we tried to tell him. But other than that, like I said, I used to see Charlemagne and shit, but it has been a lot of dirt and shit like that coming out about him. Like I don't know what to say about him. If I see him, I'll still be cordial. But I ain't gonna lie, I'll be looking at it with the side out a little bit, like just a little bit, you know.
I had to ask you
He also he
a question. I had to ask y'all a question. This actually doesn't even have anything to do with any person. What do y'all think of what happened down in Miami
Miami, what happened?
with the collapse of
what
that
happened?
condo?
Yeah, what happened?
A condo collapse. Is
Oh,
I saw a screenshot of that. I thought someone maybe burned it down or blew it up, but it collapsed.
I'm just hearing about this.
They're saying that it collapsed, but the way it looks to me, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like detonated something and it blew up from the bottom.
That's
Yeah,
what it looked like.
yeah.
It looked like the
Basically, in
Oklahoma
Miami,
bombing.
it was like it was a condo in Miami that they say collapsed, but you can look at it and it looks like somebody detonated something from the bottom and it just blew up from the bottom. And like they said last time I looked, they said it was 159 people missing and 4 people that have been confirmed dead. But they said I said nothing that is that
listen,
sturdy just falls. That
Never.
it doesn't just fall like that.
listen.
I can say this just
Let me
from.
say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Double O. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I just have to say this real quick thing. If it comes out that someone was behind that, they should instantly bring them up on terrorist charges. They should be instantly labeled as a terrorist because that's what they
That's
are,
right. That's right. But what
and give them the death
what I can
penalty.
facts. What I say, like the little bit that I know just from my little bit of time in the military, because I worked artillery, so I worked in close range a lot of times with some engineers and
Which branch?
engineers like,
Which branch were you in?
oh, I was a jarhead, but the engineers the
Oh,
engineers they blow shit up. Like engineer in the military mean the exact opposite of what it mean out here in the civilian world. The civilian world, engineers, they construct, they build. Engineers in the military, they tear shit down. So like when you see gentrification at its highest, when they destroying buildings and shit to start placing new property, you can look at how a building falls and you can tell when it's an actual collapse, and I can tell when that's a set detonation. That's a structural detonation, because they know where to go into these buildings, these high rises. They know which floors, what studs, what joists, what beams, what pillars. They know exactly where to place that C4 and that
Yeah,
TNT, whatever they
wow.
use it. They know where to
That,
put it.
that's definitely why I
it's
like to
that.
call strategic. That's definitely why I like to call strategic.
And Stephanie just put in the chat. She said the building inspector was just there the day before.
Mm.
He's been brought. If
Wow,
that's the case,
wow.
if he was, then he's been brought. So his safety, if he does say anything, if it gets found that this was a set detonation or a terroristic act like Double O said, if that news breaks and they go looking for that inspector, if he says one word, they gonna have to protect him, because whoever paid him, because if he was there before, I know he been paid. If it happened to be something structural and he keeping quiet, but if he says a word, whoever paid him, they gonna kill him. They gonna find him. They gonna kill him. So people gonna have to protect that dude if he decides to speak.
And that wasn't the only collapse that happened this week. There was another collapse that happened on Benning Road, which is um in DC, where it's this overpass, like a little bridge or whatever, and that collapsed. And luckily nobody was on it. But the thing is, I said, now you telling me that just collapsed on its own, but really what it turned out to be was a truck, like a 18-wheeler had drove under it, and the truck was too big to fit under the overpass, and it knocked it off of the thing and it collapsed. I
Wow.
said that person is about to lose their whole CDL. That company is about to get sued. Luckily,
Mhm.
nobody was walking across that bridge. They said nobody died. They said it was some injuries. It was a lot. It was a few damaged vehicles, of course. Like one person I think was driving a BMW, and their whole windshield was shattered. Like that thing was
Ooh,
done from the debris, and it looked bad. Like when I saw it, I was like, a truck did that, and could you imagine if you was traveling and you had to get stuck there all day, and you probably had somewhere important to be, and you had to wait for them to like detour that thing and move all of that out of the way.
You
that's a
know,
nightmare. That's a nightmare in the city.
you know what that's a case of? That's a case of not mining the infrastructure like you're supposed to.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
the storm that hit Texas months back is clear proof of that. And it's gonna take a couple of decades for even to get back up into working order.
You talking about that snowstorm?
Yes.
I heard about that, man. You had dudes down there with no water for weeks at a time. People people with power. People didn't get power for days.
Meanwhile,
They said,
meanwhile you had Ted Cruz hopping on the plane to Cancun.
yeah, man, yeah. That's like people be them, these the politicians people voting for, man. Like, and you can't complain about them
Ted
later. Like,
Snooze. Ted Snooze. Ted
mm-hmm.
Snooze. That's what I call him. Ted Snooze.
Let
Snooze.
And
let's
what
see
was
if
so
the
funny about him was getting on that plane and he tried to cover his face up with the mask, and the people was like, "Is that Ted Cruz?" It's like that's Ted Cruz. He can even disguise himself correctly. Here's the thing: he wore the mask on the plane, and I don't think people recognized him. But he slipped up when he was sitting in the airport and he didn't have the mask on, so people saw him clear as day, like his whole face. They was like, "Is that Ted Cruz?" And then that's how it got out that he had hopped on a plane and was heading to Cancun. I forgot what excuse he tried to give. I'm like, you do realize that it's this giant snowstorm in the state that you represent, and people are literally going through it out there, and you decide to hop on a plane and jet set to Cancun. Because I think he said, because I think they said he sent, I think they said he sent his family there or something like that,
send the
and
family first.
it then he went behind them.
To make it look like, oh, well, my family's there. I'm going, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's what that was. That was slick.
And Ted Cruz is a poor man's Charlie Sheen, if you know what I mean. He acts like he's palm color, but he's actually a Latino.
For real, yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, I've actually heard his. I've actually seen a picture of Ted Cruz's dad, and I've actually heard his dad talk. Like his dad has that thick Latino accent. Like it's there. Like you can't deny that he's from one of them nations that's like over there somewhere. But and then Ted Cruz, he's from Canada, so he's not
Mm,
even from America. Yeah, he's a Canadian. Ted Cruz is Canadian.
wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just like Drake.
Right. Well, who didn't know Drake was from Toronto? I mean, I've been knew about Drake back when he was on Degrassi.
The six God.
Wheelchair
Yeah.
Jimmy. Wheelchair Jimmy.
Wheelchair Jimmy.
Hey, though, Soldier Boy say Drake got all his stuff from him, man. Y'all remember that on the Breakfast Club? Soldier was going in. He like, man, Drake stuff. That's my stuff, man.
Hey, speaking of which, what is the best verses that you guys have seen so far? For me, it would have to be Redman and Method Man.
Red and Myth. The most entertaining one for me, I'll say, was Gucci and Jeezy, man. Cause I already knew So I seen him, man. I already knew Gucci was gonna talk about that shit, man. Killing that nigga homeboy. I knew that was coming up. That was my favorite one. That was my favorite.
I actually like the throwback one that they had with the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah, that was good too.
I like that they did an old
Oh yeah,
school
man.
versus
Yeah,
with
they
that
killed
one
it.
right
They killed
there.
it. Man.
I would say,
Could you imagine though if they had a Michael
They killed it
Jackson
in that
versus
one.
Prince?
Yes.
yo, that would shut the internet down.
Oh,
Oh,
most definitely.
by
I would,
the way, rest in peace to Michael Jackson, the king of music. Rest in peace to him.
Yeah. Today marks 12 years since his passing.
I would say
Ever since he was murdered. Yeah.
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 For me, I would say Snoop versus DMX, and how ironic that Snoop would end up on a song on DMX's last album.
Wow.
Wow.
How things work out, huh?
Exactly.
Yep.
But y'all know what? I think I'm about to go ahead and end the stream because we already been here for almost 2 hours. And I think we pretty much got up everything that we needed to discuss. And like I said, it's Freestyle Friday. So, Spidey, I know this is like your favorite stream because you always ask about it like every Friday. I'm like, it's not the last Friday.
Yeah, I want that. Yeah. Yep. I only got one more comment. If you guys are gonna be watching tonight, go Bucks.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really been keeping up with the playoffs like that, but I heard that Trae Young is like really, really, really going in though. Like it's like ever since that person or that fan spit on him or spit at him, he's like, oh, I'm about to go in. I wish he would have found that fan and put his hands on him though.
Right. I enjoyed this.
Bucks.
Thanks, Taurean, for the link.
All right, no problem. I'm glad that y'all was able to come up. So shout out to everybody who came up, everybody who spoke. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat who was entertained by what we were talking about. We were all over the place, but that's the point of the Freestyle Friday. Just allows me to have this moment with my supporters at least one time out the month because I used to only do it one time a year, and that was at the end of the year. But I said let me go into 2021 and have it happen at least once a month, so it could feel more. I guess you could say I don't know how to put it more. I could say more
Engaging.
open.
My bad though. I had pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, I was like, what happened? You had just froze and it fell off. I was like, what was going on? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right here. Again, like tomorrow, we'll be back at it on the main channel with the 3 videos, 10 to and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all have a good one.
Stay ready and
I'll talk to y'all
vigilant.
later. All right.
Salute.